Alright, for this tutorial we're going to be going over how to kind of go through the configs and pretty much get the data that you actually want to get out of it so you can do various things such as sorting. So in this case I have 3 weapon crates here, one called rifle, one called pistol, and one for MG. And as you can see they are completely empty, nothing in them. For example, the rifle, nothing. So pretty much what we're going to be doing is going into the config. By the way, press escape in the editor, go to config. Duh, simple as that. Then you're going to want to scroll from the very top. You're going to want to scroll down until you find cfgWeapons. Just double click on it. And here's where you're pretty much going to figure out what you want to get. So I'll click on the MK20 and show the differences. I'm going to scroll down and find, should be under H, I think. Yeah, here they are. Alright, so you'll see, for instance, one way that they sort them is through the cursor. So for normal rifles, cursor equals a rifle. Now if you go over here to pistols, cursor equals H gun, handgun. Go over here to, this is the MK30, machine gun. Hang on, let me find it one that's not showing. It's actually showing properly. Like that is Zephyr, as you can see, cursor showing MG. Same thing with MK200 and all the other ones. So that's pretty much what we're going to want to grab out of this. As well as you can see type. We're generally going to want to go see if we can find type equals, pretty much set it, if not type, scope, sorry. So we're going to want to look for scope equals 2. So we're going to be pulling 2 things out of this. We're going to be checking if the scope equals 2 and if the cursor equals whichever type of firearm we are trying to grab. If it does, then add it to an array. And then later on, once we get everything spawning properly in the crates, I'm going to just do a quick little kind of tutorial on how to get the base weapon. So if you notice, like a lot of these rifles here, they'll have attachments on them, like they'll have multiple variations, but they always have one base weapon, which has nothing on it, no attachments, nothing. So I'm going to show you how to sort that afterwards. So I guess we can go ahead and get started. So I already went ahead and made another just SQF file. I just called it get weapons. That's just where I'm going to put all the crap. So go ahead and just do your normal execute it. So execvm, then the path. Since it's in the directory, we just do the name. Now we're going to be using not exactly, no, it's not config. If I search weapons, it should come up. Yeah, actually it's going to show the entire list. Config reference. Okay, I completely got myself lost. Now, let me go find the page real quick. It's just on the wiki somewhere. Okay, so as you can see here by the examples, you go by the condition, which is this where we're going to kind of go through and sort them at. So if, cursor equals a rifle, add it to this and so on. Then the command is just the condition, the command itself, config file, and then the config we want to access. In our case, it's just config weapons. So, and also uses the magic variable x. So we're going to do rifle, just call it rifle array equals, then it's a string, config classes, config file, then just cfg weapons. Now, and here's where we do our conditions. We're going to be using both get text and get number. And as you can see, get text, then pretty much just the config. So get text, we pull X, and remember it was called cursor. So if we go back in here, as you can see, it is just, you can tell it's get text because it has quotations around it, meaning it's a string. So we want to check and see if cursor is equal to a rifle. So if that is equal to a rifle, and we want to do one more, so we're going to do the and, but in this case, since it's a number, we want to use get number. So as you can see, we want it to be equal to 2. So get number x scope is equal to 2. So if these conditions are met, we should be getting our rifle array. And just to make sure I didn't screw something up while typing, which I did, missing quotations. And I forgot the closing quote. Okay. So we haven't actually shown anything to prove that we have it yet. We're just kind of going off of assumption. So technically we can go ahead and test it by simply just hinting this out. So we're just going to make it global real quick. Save it. Tab back into the game. Go ahead and restart. Actually, that should be the right name. Now we call it a rifle array. So if we hint it, hey, look at that, nothing. Rifle, not rifles. So if we hint it, as you can see, we have a huge list. However, it's not actually the weapons we're going for. It's pretty much the path. And from the path, we want to get pretty much the config name from it. So let's head back here. And just make this global as well. Actually, I can just hint it from in here. Go ahead and make our array. We're going to use a for each. Rifle array. Web class equals config name. And then pretty much the path. So now that we have the weapon class, we want to push it back into rifles. Well, rifle names. Push back web class. So then we go down here, we're going to go ahead and hint it. Hint, I can make that a string. Hint rifle names. Now it should appear on the right side. And as you can see, it has the actual config name of the rifles we want, which, well, it's what we want. So now that we have the class names, we can start adding them to crates. Actually, rifle 1 was this one over here. So this one was called, I think, just rifle crate. Yep, just rifle crate. So we're going to go ahead and use another 4 each. Except this time it's going to be for rifle names. So as you can see with that syntax, it goes by vehicle name, which is rifle crate. Add weapon carbo global. Now it wants the weapon name, which we already have, so we just do X, then the amount. We're just going to add 1. So now when we spawn in, this sucker should be full. Yep. Has every kind of weapon, well, rifle, and every single variation of it inside the crate. It's a little overkill though. So let's say we just want the base weapon, something like this specifically, nothing else, and this pretty much just like the stock class, nothing else in it. So we're going to go back to the config, and we already have 1 selected, so we're going to find base weapon here. So we're pretty much going to just, well, literally be pulling it from that. And this again, we'll be using the where is it, get text command as well. You can kind of read from here. So the way it's going to work is our the base weapon name, we're going to store it in a variable. We're going to use get text, then we're going to run through the config file. This is going to be cfgWeapons, and right here is going to be the actual weapon we have, which, like in this case, we used X since we're doing the rifle name array. So we're just going to do X, and then in here in quotes it's going to be base weapon. So let's see, we can go ahead. Actually, I'll just leave that and change it here in a minute. So make our 4 each for rifle names. So we're gonna call it I don't know, base weapon. Alright, yeah, just B weapon for short, equals get text config file cfgWeapons X. Then we want to get the base weapon, so we just type base weapon, and now B weapon for whichever one is the very first weapon that it pulled, like the Kativa. We now have the base class stored specifically inside of here. Now, since this is going to be going through all the config, well, not all the configs, all the weapons, including the ones with various attachments, it is going to create and be going through a lot of duplicates. So, why'd you go over there? What we're going to want to use is, instead of doing a normal pushback, thanks to my friend Haz for telling me about it, it's called pushback unique. Don't know how I didn't find that before. It's kind of demanding, so this is something you're going to want to do at like mission start, for example, on the server. So that way you don't want to be doing this continually. So you can get all the weapons from the configs, store them in like a global array somewhere on the server, and use them accordingly whenever you need it. So we're going to go ahead and just call it a rifle array, just like the one above, and we're going to change it, this one, to all rifle array, just like so. So now we have this here. This is this is what's going to hold our, and my voice changed completely for some reason. This is what's going to hold our, pretty much all of our base weapons. So rifle away, push back unique, cfgWeapon. It's as simple as that. Now we're going to be going and we're going to be changing it, so now that we have all the base weapons stored in rifle array, we're just going to add those base weapons to that crate. So now when we go back into the game and we look at it, we should be able to see just the base weapons, no attachments, no nothing. The only difference in variation between them is something like the texture, for example. Or this is actually a completely separate one, just like these, because they have the grenade launchers on them. But no optics, nothing. You can also sort these out even farther by checking if they have that. So that's how you would sort that out. Now we're going to kind of make this a little bit more universal so we can get all the weapons. We're just going to get rifle like we already have, pistol, then machine guns. We're going to store them on the array and a global array on the server and filter them out, and then have our little function that will add them manually to each crate. So let's just go ahead and make a couple arrays. Just call it rifle array. So we have our rifle, pistol, and machine gun array. Now I'm going to go ahead and make a function that actually gets the base weapons that we want, as well as for this. So all we have to do is just pretty much call it. My brain went completely dead. Just make one called get config name, get base class. Okay, so now we can just go ahead and pretty much, we're just going to go ahead and copy the one for the config name, paste it in here, and we're going to be passing in an array to this function. So we're just going to do params array and do for each on array. We can do the same exact thing for base class. So I can go and get rid of you. Now we're going to want to call the get config name. So and what we want to pass in is the rifle array, so all rifle array. So I'm trying to think of a little better way to do this real quick. Alright, so we're going to be doing this in a sequence, so we can do, let's go ahead and, that is not what I thought I had copied. And we want this one to have a return value, so we're just going to do, actually what am I going to call this? So we're just going to make a new one called new array. We're going to be pushing this stuff back into it. Then we're going to be using new array to call get base class. Do the same thing here, new array. Then we're going to want to call it with, well, no, that wouldn't exactly work how I thought it would. Anyhow. Well, we can, let's see, script. Let's go back to the original plan. We're just going to call them separately for now. So we have our rifle array, we're calling it into get config. Then we want to do the exact same thing, but we want to get the base class. Since this is going to be for the rifle array, we're just going to do rifle array equals, then our return value. So yeah, it's the same. New array, you are missing a bracket, so we don't have a new array there anymore, so just make a new one called temp. We're going to pass it okay, my brain just quit here. I'm just going to make rifle temp. I'm just tired, it's 3 in the morning. Okay, so we're doing that. We're going to pass in rifle temp to base class. Now we're going to do the exact same thing for pistols, then machine guns. So pistol, and I want to copy it. MG. Okay, so we know pistol was aged gun under cursor, and machine gun was just MG. So now we want to pretty much just do this a couple times. Okay, now we want to make a function to add them to the do a majigger, the crates. So we're gonna make this, why not just make it over here? Make it take in 2 parameters. Do crate name. And the array. So crate names were, should just be, yeah, rifle crate, pistol crate, MG crate. So just gonna call it from actually out here, so that way we know it's done. And wanted it to take in 2 parameters, being the crate name, so crate idiot rifle, yeah, rifle crate, then the array, so rifle array. Copy this, paste it twice, pistol array, MG array. Okay, now we want to make it so it adds it to the crate. So for each array, back to the command, vehicle name, crate name, X1. Alright, let's see how badly this is screwed up. This should be MGs. It's definitely not. And I'm stupid. Alright, so push back to... Yeah, just be lazy and add another different one. Actually, never mind, I already did it. It's just calling with the exact same thing because I forgot to change it. Man, I confused myself. Base class, okay. Completely got myself sidetracked. We're just gonna make it return an array just like we did before. Yeah, so and dog snoring. Alright, let's watch it not work again. Nailed it. And nothing. Nope, never mind. What in the world did it grab then? Oh. Yeah, had this a couple times. I'm not exactly sure what in the world it is, but pretty much that on blank weapons like that, it returns, well, an empty string. So an easy way to, should have one in the weapons, I think. I mean the rifles, and never mind, it's just in pistols. So we can do a little check there. So go back here, should be under get. So if web class is equal to, we're going to be turning this into just a does not equal. So if weapon class does not equal the empty string, push it back into, well, the new array. So try this again. No error. And you are still there. Yeah, next to the H-gun P07, you can, to the left, you can see it's an empty string, and that is in the class name. But if it does does not equal that. And it should be just fine. Unless it has to do with getting the base class. In which case... yeah, still leave that there. Anyways, just because why not? With any luck, that should fix it. If not, I'm just gonna go to bed regardless. Line 28. Well, no, duh. Yay! And it's no longer there. So now we have all our MGs in the one crate, all of our pistols in another, and all this crap in this one. So that's just really kind of short. I'm just making this before bed tutorial on how to go through and get all that crap, because this is extremely useful for numerous amounts of things, especially if you ever try to make like your own sort of shop, or just in general filling crates. It's a lot nicer to actually have everything that you want without making your own array and having to copy and paste every single class name into it, which is extremely time consuming. Takes less time to write this, and this also gives you a little bit more flexibility and control. Like if, for instance, on the shop part, you can go through and get, since you already have all the stuff you need, such as the class name, you can just go through and, like for instance what I ended up doing, I sorted my stuff out by the inertia right here. So AK-12 has an inertia of 0.6, whereas the AKM should have, I want to say, less. Nope, same exact. MK-20 should have less, sorry, 0.4. So I went by that, so pretty much sorting it so if inertia is less than or equal to this amount and greater than or equal to this amount, then set a cache amount on that one. So it would, then we add the weapon array, well, the weapon class name and the cache that it's worth into an array, and then we add that array into the rifle weapon array. So that way we have an array full of all the weapons, including their cache value. So that way whenever you want to like go to buy it or sell it, you don't have to manually assign a cache value for each thing. It just, you figure out what you want to price it at, you figure out how you want to price it specifically. Like if it has a higher inertia, it's generally just going to be a bigger caliber, make it cost more, whatever. You can do the same thing with getting the hit value from the ammo and all that kind of stuff. It just makes your life a heck of a lot easier. And bedtime.